About 80 million years ago in the Cretaceous period, Manitoba was covered by this shallow, warm seaway called the Western Interior Seaway. It was full of fish and sharks and these big, impressive marine reptiles. Over time, over millions of years, the seaway receded and all of those animals are now long gone. But we have a really impressive fossil record of their existence in Manitoba. In order for an animal to become fossilized requires some very special conditions. So the fact that we're finding all of these fossils in Manitoba just really speaks to how unique these fossil localities are.
I've lived in Morden most of my life, and I had never heard that anyone had ever found any fossils anywhere around that area. And then in summer of '72, I guess it was, springtime, two of my friends and I, Don Bell and Dave Lumgear, we were on actually a canoe race on the Pembina River. And Dave, who's a farmer in the area, mentioned that they had found some fossils in a bentonite mine. So the next day, Don and I drove down to the mine, which was south of Morden, and the guys there were very friendly and said, yeah, we find these things all the time, and they showed us what the most recent discovery was. And it was lying there in the ground, and eventually all those fossils would have to be bulldozed away, and so they were lost. And we just couldn't believe what was happening, and we just collected more and more, and I mean, every day we went there, we found something. It was unbelievable. Some of the things we were finding were like brand new fossils that no one had ever seen before. And just seeing it and not knowing what it is, and then trying to learn about what these things are and so on, yeah, it just became really, really exciting. And we collected so much stuff that we filled up the whole basement of the old post office, and we started thinking about maybe building a museum to house these kinds of things. And we talked to the town, and eventually we got enough money to start building a new museum. It ended up being in the basement of the recreation complex in Morden. In, I think it was 1979, we opened that museum.
We are now in the basement of the Access Science Center. We were here for the last 40 years, practically. This facility has now around 12,000 square feet. So we are now working to design a new facility big enough to have the displays and the spaces. So we are now talking about a 46,000 square feet facility. In display right now, I will say that we have probably 5% that we have in the back room. So the collection room are unique species. They are not in any way represented in the museum. Is different to any other museum with similar fossils. We have right now more than 1,000 specimens, and those specimens are composed by more than 20,000 fossils. And the reality is that they are growing every year. There is a concentration of special fossils, unique fossils here.
The potential to find new specimens is actually really high. And if we can get out into the field and collect all this material, we need to have a good place to do research and to store these specimens.
We are now at, I would say, maximum possibilities of growth in visitation because of the facility we have. We are talking now around 14,000 visitation annually. The business plan that we have for the new facility, we are talking about a very conservative but realistic number of 50,000 people. The impact in the city is going to be huge.
Probably the biggest challenge for the Canadian Fossil Discovery Centre right now is its permanent location. It needs to come out of the ground. It needs to come upstairs, and it needs to have a presence. There's not a lot of other places in the world you can go and see this. It's beyond cultural. This is something that is prehistoric. This is from another time, another world. This is an iconic opportunity for them to create something that will put Morden on that international map, and it will connect it to an audience who is fascinated and interested in this kind of viewing opportunity. I think it will be unique for them. I think it will be a huge advantage for the city of Morden.
The kind of displays that we want to build there is going to be something very modern with high technology, very interactive, very appealing. It's just not static displays, lights, sounds, and displays that are easily updated. We have a very solid business plan that is guaranteeing that the museum is going to be self-sustainable.
Once the fossils are taken out of the ground, they can still be damaged further. If they're not taken care of properly, they can continue to fall apart. So having proper cabinetry and having proper fossil storage is really important to ensure that we're preserving all of this. And the CFDC just doesn't have that right now, which is really sad. So like a big part of this new facility for me is having a beautiful collection space that is inviting for students and researchers to come and have a look and to make sure that all the fossils are actually well taken care of.
Big standalone museum where these fossils could be shown the way that they deserve to be shown. Yeah, that will be fantastic when that happens. I think as a tourist attraction, it'll be great.
This is in our own backyard. This is in your backyard. This is incredible. It will be a worthwhile project that the world will take note of, and it will result in revenue for that community. And a grander facility that would be fitting of what we're looking at would have a huge impact.
A lot of people don't know that Manitoba has this very impressive fossil record. And they won't know until we can put it on display and be really impressed at what these animals used to look like.
Altogether, I think it's going to be a unique facility, and it's going to be attracting people from all over the world.
It'd be nice to see lots of people recognize how significant these finds really are.